Hello everybody, my name is Oak and today we're going to make a Velociraptor enclosure together with security and a backstage area as well. Please enjoy the video. I just want to say from last episode that I actually had some corrupt files, so I actually built some guest facilities, including this little statue thingy you see over here. File got corrupted, so I can't really get that back. But you know, I made some nice things, I think. Even placed some lights, so it really looks good with the moon as well. So yeah, that's pretty nice, I think. I also created a little bathroom thingy with some seating areas here. So I started out with the shape of the enclosure first. I was thinking about kind of a circular thingy, kind of inspired by the Jurassic Park enclosures. So I made a straight line and then, you know, kind of made a cross, and then you can make a perfect circle. You can see me here filling in the enclosure itself with some sand, because velociraptors like desert and scrubland, I'm sorry. So here I am actually lowering the enclosure itself, so we can create the illusion that the fences are higher than they actually are. And for this enclosure I was thinking something akin to an oasis. I really like that idea. I got inspired by a movie I saw about the velociraptor in the desert when I was younger. I will put in the title of that movie in the screen because I can't remember right now. But yeah, I wanted to get that kind of like oasis feel, like desert dry. Like last episode, I'm creating some some rocks right now to get a kind of a feel like how we are going to make this enclosure nice and what the vibe is going to be. And even though it's dry, I still want to include a lot of foliage because the velociraptors need it, and I think it just looks cool. So I wanted the visitors to go all the way around the enclosure, so they can have maximum amount of viewing experience, or they can see a lot. Of course, we're going to make a little backstage area, so it's not 100 and over 360 degrees, but it's close enough. I wanted to include a little entrance I made in a single player game for myself. This little gate, I really enjoy it. I think it's simple and nice. And I actually already made it for raptors in my single player playthrough, so I think it looks pretty good. So right now I am creating the backstage area. So I was trying to incorporate it kind of into a rock, so you kind of have a more immersed experience when you look at the enclosure itself. And I'm a really big fan of making custom like buildings. Shops I find a bit difficult sometimes, but enclosures I really enjoy. And I actually did not make many of these, so it was one of my kind of a new experience, especially including it into the rocks. But I think it's going to turn out well. It's not that big, but I don't think velociraptors need that many. It's mainly to make sure that they do not get rained on when it rains, but I turned the rain off, so we don't really have to worry about it. We're also going to make like a little backstage area like behind the fence, so it kind of looks like they have a bigger place for medical treatment and that kind of stuff. So you can see me make that part right now. I was kind of struggling with the angles because I kind of made it not really 100% straight, so I kind of have to shimmy some some blocks, but I think it worked. After I finished the enclosure, I put in some beds and a little drinking area, so they could actually drink and sleep. And I had this idea of making a catwalk around the whole enclosures for extra security, but also for the keepers to be able to survey and potentially feed the animals. So right now I am making the entrance. This is a little plateau with some barbed or electrical fencing. We're going to make in a second. But because of how the game works, we still needed access to the actual feeding areas. So I'm going to make a staircase over here, which turned out to be quite challenging, more so than I expected. But I think it turned out okay in the end. Because, like I said last episode, I try to be semi-realistic. Of course, keeping in mind that the game also requires some functionality. And I went with this bricky thing and metal staircases, which I think look really good. So I wanted to make two imaginary entrances to the backstage area. So we're going to make one right here, so you can go directly from inside to inside the enclosure, and one we're going to make later. And as well, we have a practical door that the keepers can actually enter and feed and clean the velociraptors if necessary. So here I'm trying to make a electrical fence, which is really easy. Which is a really easy concept in my head, because it was just two poles with some mesh in between. And yeah, I think when you make something like this and you can repeat it a lot, it really works and it really brings it to life, because Prehistoric Kingdom does not have these kind of electrical fences. So you have to make them themselves, and I really enjoy that part when you can reuse a lot of assets and a lot of blueprints. So I really enjoy that about this game. So again, I was inspired by Jurassic Park and one of the first, and Jurassic World, but especially the first Jurassic Park ever to be released. There you have this enclosure for the Velociraptors where they eventually break out, where they also have these kind of electrical fencing. So I want to kind of go for that vibe, but in the movie they have a really small enclosure, and I like to give my dinosaurs a lot of room, because I think that's more realistic and less cruel, even though they are not real, of course. But still, I like to pretend that they are and really take care of them. So I got the idea to actually put in some lighting, and maybe that could be like indicators of what the status of the fences are, if they're on, or if they're disabled, or if there's a malfunction. Kind of inspired again by the first Jurassic Park movie, where I believe it's Timmy is climbing on those fences and gets electrocuted when the lights are blinking.
I'm gonna count 3, 2.
So I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go with red or yellow, but I ended up actually with orange, so a nice middle part, and I think it looks really cool in the evening. Again, we're not really going to see this park a lot in the evening, but you know, I like pretending that it's there, and you kind of see it in the day as well. So I think that really brings something fresh to the park. So here I'm starting actually for the catwalk, and I really did this quite ineffective. I actually placed the walls first, like you can see here. Of course, I copied it, so that's kind of, you know, logical. But right now I'm placing the walkways, and I realized halfway through that I actually could have made like one section and then just copied it all. But now I had to do everything again, and I have to repeat it as well when I place the electric fences. But you know, it is what it is, and yeah, it's fine. But next time I'm surely I will do it differently. Here I tried to do the same trick, but it didn't really work, so I just had to manually place everything in. So again, I need to copy everything. I made it a bit bigger because they have bigger sections, and I wanted to make sure it fits nicely. But again, I could have done this more. I could have done this more efficiently, but you know, I'm kind of stupid. So yeah, but it is what it is, I guess. So after I put all those electrical fences up, I started on the backstage area a bit more. I made some access to the Velociraptor enclosure, so the keepers could, you know, come in and get the Velociraptors, or, you know, help them. I also had some terrain issues, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to fix them, so I just placed rocks there, and I think they actually look pretty nice. I also put some little rocks next to the big rocks, to add that detail and more realism, kind of like the rocks that fell from the rocks itself, like I did in the last enclosure. So I really enjoyed this this prefab thingy, but I thought it was too narrow, too small, so I kind of make this overhang at the side, which also created a nice shading area for the Velociraptors, and you can see me place some beds there so they can sleep as well, and I think that's really really nice. I really enjoy the foliage in this game. I think they look really good. You can see they are really arid plants in this case, and yeah, it just sells the experience, sells the vibe of the enclosure. So you can see me placing some individual plants, which gives you more control, but I also like the randomness of the brush. So I just, lightly tap the whole enclosure so you get this nice little spread. So after I put in all the foliage, I am starting on the ground. I wasn't really sure what I did. I tried a lot of things, but I think just lightly mixing all kinds of different foliage and soliage to the enclosure really gives it a less of a plain feel, because it was kind of boring. But with the different textures and different kind of patches, I think it really comes together. I also tried to make these paths where the dinosaurs maybe walk a lot, like to and from the enclosure and the water, and I think that really brings the whole enclosure to life. And they're actually, you get the feel that there are actually dinosaurs living there. So of course we also need some guest facilities, some signs and some binoculars so the guests can actually see it, read about the velociraptors. And we can of course not forget the donation boxes, because again we need money. We need money for the park to be able to function. And it's a really nice income to have in this game. So here you can see a keeper coming in. He kind of walked over the electrical fences, but let's just say he has rubber boots and he's immune. But yeah, I can't really control it. But it is nice to see that they can actually access the enclosure as well. So the only thing to do now is just to put in our dinosaurs and give you guys a little tour of the enclosure. I made a backstage area right here where they can go in and sleep and be out of sight of the visitors for a little bit. Can drink, can sleep. And then to the top right here is so at the top right here we have a little entrance for the keepers to go backstage. I did not really put anything in here, but it's for the outside that matters. Later on, I am going to make a little entrance right here for visitors, and we're gonna have a little mini raptor exhibit. Those are these guys, the little how do you call them? Not these ones, but these ones. Microraptors. That was it. Wasn't mini raptors. Rabbits. Micro raptors. So yeah, so this is gonna be like an extension of it, and it's gonna be like a closed circuit thingy. So you come in, and then you can walk around and then go back, and maybe later on I will make an exit right here so people can go to the next phase. So the exhibit itself, when you go in like this, like one of the keepers would do, that this guy is not supposed to be there. Then you can come down here, and you have a little feeding area right here, so they can eat. We got some nice bushes, some nice rocks as well. Just keeping it a bit open because velociraptors like to run and jump, so it needs to be open. And I really like how the little oasis turned out. It's like a little oasis with some nice clay and rock features in there. And that guy just wants to escape. No. You're not allowed, little guy. Yeah, you cannot jump. That's why we built these things. Maybe I should put something here. Wait, one sec. Alright, so hopefully this will keep the animals out of this area right here. I mean, they can jump over it, but I hope the AI just does not do that. So yeah, you have a little feeding area, then a little oasis, and we have this little walkway where the keepers can walk and go around without being endangered of the velociraptors itself, like so. So that's pretty cool, I think. And they maybe can even like feed them and maybe tranquilize them. Tranquilize them when they need medical treatment, or I don't know, need to be transported or anything. And also a good observation point. So I really enjoyed this little thing here. It's inspired by a blueprint that is already in the game. and I kind of modified it so it's more open and more wide. And I also made some sleeping places right here so they can hide in the shade and just be cool for a little while. And so I like that they have options, like they can come here and they can come here to like rest. I put in these little bushes at the edge of the rocks. I think that helps with like the hard like division between the rock and the ground. So I think that's turned out really well. I think it's a good addition to the park. I hope the rating for the visitors is good enough or high. Let's see. A plus, nice. I believe that's the best one that you can get. So that will be very beneficial for us for making some money from this zoo. Later on, we're going to decorate it further. So we're gonna make probably some rocks right here and maybe even a dining area for the Velociraptor burgers or anything like that. And again, we're gonna make a Microraptor enclosure later on. So this is going to be like a little mini zoo within the zoo. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that for today. Please consider subscribing and liking and commenting. Any constructive feedback will be greatly appreciated, because I don't know what I'm doing in these videos, but I like gaming, I like showing people what I've made, so please consider a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.